I think people are way too quick to already draw conclusions on Generation Z. Now, listen. I'd be lying if I said that I haven't enjoyed a fair bit of video essays or introspectives on Generation Z on YouTube and stuff like that. But as I watched more and more of those videos, I came to realize that most of their points were just more generalizations that you could say about young people. I mean, how much of a deep dive could it really be if more than half of this generation is under 25? For those of you who don't know, 25 years old is when your brain is finished with all of its development. And even then, there's still a lot to learn from that point. I mean, just because your brain is stopping all development, it doesn't mean that you can't learn new skills. So when you take those elements into consideration, you realize how shaky the grounds for which these traits of Gen Z are being built on. And look, I'm not saying that you don't have the right to make a video on Gen Z. I would more just rather suggest you form the video based off of predictions rather than solid conclusions. Now you may question me, well, when is an appropriate time to start making conclusions about generations? And for me, at the very least, the appropriate time to judge when a generation has made an impact, I'd say it's when the youngest person in that generation is old enough to run for president. And even then, I'm reluctant to have that be the cutoff point because there's still so much that could change beyond that. And it also depends on what you even call an impact. I mean, some people may say that you can't really truly gauge the impact on something until it's completely gone. And to that, I would actually disagree with that notion, but it just goes to show how much ambiguity there is here. People can't even agree upon what the cutoff point is for Gen Z. Some people say 1997, some people say 1995. It's just too much variables. So with that all being said, I want to tell you about a theory that I came up with. And also, as to not be a hypocrite, I'm going to practice what I preach, and I'm also going to style this as predictions and not something that is set in stone. So let me provide my hypothesis. I think that Gen Z will be a generation that I would group as a hands-off generation. And the reason why I think that is because we can take away patterns from the past 3 generations. That being Baby Boomers, Gen X, and Millennials. Now you heard me say hands-off generation, but let me explain to you the contrary, which is hands-on generation. These generations are characterized by their inclination to challenge the status quo, make societal changes, and strive for social justice. They are often at the forefront of social movements and protests. These generations feel a strong sense of responsibility to create a better future and are willing to actively engage in activism to achieve their goals. Now, considering the criteria I gave for a hands-on generation, then I'm hoping that you'd agree that I'm putting baby boomers and millennials in this category. Now, I know these days people view baby boomers as just traditional and opposed to change, but historically speaking, it was actually quite the opposite. During the Vietnam War era, baby boomers were at the forefront of huge social movements, advocating for civil rights, women's rights, and protesting against the Vietnam War. And in recent years, for millennials, the parallel would be raising awareness for climate change, LGBTQ rights, and other various social justice issues. And on the other hand, literally, you have the hands-off generation. These generations are characterized by an individualistic mindset and a desire for self-sufficiency. They may often be seen more as cautious and realistic, as they've witnessed the pros and cons to previous societal changes caused by the hands-on generations. They also may be more inclined to prioritize personal goals and financial stability. So that is why I'm putting Gen X in this category. And here is an example of how hands-on and hands-off generations affect each other. So as I said earlier, with baby boomers contributing to societal changes like the women's rights movements, a common practice was for activists to encourage women to enter the workforce, which led to an increase of families where both of the parents were working and out of the house. which left their kids who were in the next generation, that being Gen X, to be dubbed as the latchkey generation, leading to increased independence and adaptability, which is a mindset that was given to them at an early age. This is also why you see a lot of Gen Xers say that after they graduated high school, they went straight into the workforce. Whereas for baby boomers, it was more encouraged for them to go straight into college or university right after graduating high school, as the economy in their days was much more lucrative. So if this pattern continues in its trajectory, then it is to be predicted that Gen Z will be a hands-off generation. Again, at least according to my own observations. Also, let me make it clear that I'm not trying to portray one as inferior or superior. I'm just trying to relay the differences to you, because they both have pros and cons in their own right. I was thinking of laying out some of them for you, but that would kind of distract from my point because this video was about Gen Z. If that sounds like something that might interest you, maybe give this a like and comment and tell me if you would want to see that. If not, then maybe suggest another video, who knows. So yeah, that about wraps up my video. Tell me if you agree or disagree. Do you think that I'm incorrect on my observations? Let me know, and I'll see y'all next Friday. Toodaloo, man.